That's a pretty inflammatory thumbnail I stuck on the video there, isn't it? I get it. But despite that, the entire point of today's lesson is how you go from learning your favorite songs and riffs and guitar licks and evolve them into something that's all your own. Be inspired by them, don't just copy them. So I have a whole series of videos and a playlist that I created which is based on this very concept, and I examine individual players' styles and things that I've taken from them and that eventually led to and evolved into things that I do that I guess I would consider my own style. And what this lesson here is more like the general overview of that whole playlist and that whole concept. And hopefully what I'll be able to help you with here today is getting from that point where you're evolving from learning other licks and turning them into things that are all your own, and the thought process behind that. Now, this is not to say that copying what other players are doing is the wrong thing to do. Of course, when you're first starting out, it's the best thing to do is to grab pieces and parts from here and there, little bits of leads, little guitar riffs, intros, things that you love, learn how to play them, and learn how to express yourself on the instrument through, at first, the sounds of what other people are doing. But taking that next step from playing covers to writing your own music and trying to express yourself in your own way, whether it be leads or just riffs and parts, that can be kind of intimidating. And what I want to give you here is a little bridge to bring over that gap. And it's not as difficult as you might think. It really comes down to just one simple thing. You take small parts of what other people are doing, parts that you love, and just mangle them up just a little bit and evolve them into something else. So there's the answer. There's your lesson. That's it. Good. No, don't worry. This isn't some French film that just ends in the middle of the story. So I think the best way I can show you what I'm talking about is to grab a few like real famous iconic guitar parts here and do exactly what I'm talking about, where you evolve them into something else. The first one I'm going to do here is extremely iconic. It is the opening riff to Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, played by Slash, of course. And the logic of it is like a pedal point, right? So you have a low note and then a pattern. You change the low note, do the pattern again. In the instance of this riff, it's the D and then the pattern. And then he moves to an E, plays the pattern, goes to a G, plays the pattern, and eventually he builds up the part, changes it a little bit off of the pattern. So you can take that logic of playing in that manner and build something completely your own that's going to evolve and not sound anything like that, yet it was still inspired by the logic of doing that. So in this instance, I'm thinking I'm going to take something and base it on an E minor chord. I'm going to go E, C, B, A. And on the A, I'm going to break from the pattern and build up sort of like he does at the end of his pattern as well. So I've got something like this. I've got kind of a cool song part there, maybe even intro to a song. And if you heard it, you're never going to say to yourself, oh man, that sounds just like Slash. It sounds nothing like it. But it was inspired by him, and that idea of doing a pedal note, pattern is what led me into something that is my own. Now, another direction you can take this is looking at it from the standpoint of a lead part or a solo part in a song, where you play a low note in a pattern and a low note in a pattern. So I'm going to play something over a little backing track here so you can see it in the context of lead guitar. Okay, so there was the same logic again. I've got that low E note, then I go to a B, and then a little bit later on in it, I start following the bass chords, the G to the A. So that's all the same concept, low note pattern, low note pattern. I can even go all neoclassical with it and play a part where it's like a violin part where the pattern, and bounce the low note around. I'll go like E, D, C. Same type of thing. Again, doesn't sound anything like the part that inspired it, but the logic of the part inspired it. And that's what you're looking to do when you evolve from playing covers and playing other people's licks to growing them into your own. Let's look at another example now. Okay, for the next example, we're going to take another iconic riff, and in this one, it's as simple as just taking one note that you wouldn't normally think of, or at least when I was playing, I wouldn't normally think of playing in the key that it's in, and having it open a whole new world of ideas. And that riff is Enter Sandman by Metallica. Just that one part of it, playing a B flat in place of a B that would normally be played there. That note there. Most of the time when you're writing riffs in and around E minor, and if you're coming from a classic rock kind of background, you know, it's always that note B. Right? So now, just the idea of sticking a B flat in there opens up a whole new set of ideas to me. Doesn't sound anything like Enter Sandman. I'm playing completely different types of things. It's just the inspiration of that note, and maybe even hitting it as a chord in a progression where you wouldn't normally in the key of E. So that's a very simple example of just thinking, having one note make you think somewhere outside of where you were thinking of before. Now you can take that same concept and expound on it into your lead playing, where maybe you're normally playing just basic E minor. And just replace the B with the B flat. So you're... You know, I'm really hammering on it there to make the point a little bit over the top, but you can really get into some cool things with just replacing that one note, even just like a very tropey kind of... I can start looking for places I can play that B flat instead. So again, this is a little less of a borrowing an entire riff idea, but just thinking about playing a note that you might not have grabbed for before. Let's take a look at one more really iconic old classic rock riff. And guys, if you're getting any ideas of your own, from your own stuff, I'd love to see you post it in the comments below. If you're doing your own videos or putting stuff up on SoundCloud, share what you're doing. I want to hear where these lessons are taking you musically. Okay, for this last riff, I am breaking out something that probably everybody played on guitar before they even knew how to play guitar, and probably played it wrong, just like on the low string or something. It's something that everybody grabs for because it sounds like it's super simple. You know, this old riff. And I'm not going to go and play the whole thing here. I haven't been playing the whole riffs or very much of any of these riffs because I don't want to anger the copyright deities. So where can I run with this riff? Well, the first time I learned it the correct way, instead of just playing it like this, thinking that that was the song, I ended up thinking about playing riffs that were built on just the D and the G string there, these dyads as they're called, two-note riffs. So stuff where I could go. That kind of thing was just, I wasn't thinking about it. I was just playing power chords. So all of a sudden I had this idea of playing riffs that were made up of two notes. I was bouncing to the A string there, but it opened up the idea, it opened up dyads for me. So now instead of just playing fourths like it's playing in the song, I could play fifths, I could play a minor sixth, play a diminished fifth. I have entire riffs that can move. I could pluck them with my fingers and get that kind of sound. It's almost 80s sounding. As I said, get a very 80s kind of feel there. But the whole point being that I've gone from playing riffs that are just power chords, and because I heard what he's doing on two strings, I end up with the idea of moving around. Moving around on the G and D string, and you can start doing it on other pairs of strings, but dyad riffs. And as a final example here, I can combine a couple of the things that we learned. I can take that dyad type of thing and do the thing I got from Slash where I was doing a low pedal note. And so I can do like again with the E, C, B thing. There's just so many possibilities with all of this stuff, and that's the idea. One idea leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and you can even end up with an entire style created out of just expounding on one little piece of what someone else was doing. Think of tapping. Think of some of what they call gent music. These were bits of what other people were doing turned into entire styles. So guys, if you have any questions or comments, anything that you think I need to cover a little better or something you want to see me do, I'll even do, as I have in the past, videos for specific questions. I'm always looking for good ideas, and I always want to see what you're up to as well. So please leave a comment and subscribe if you can. Click that like button if you can. And until next time, guys, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.